You're live.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year to us all. Good to see each other. We're getting far too used to seeing each other in little windows, but anyways, hope everyone's doing all right. We are meeting here today on the traditional territory of the Teonantate, the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, which are now home to a diverse First Nation, Métis, and Inuit population. We acknowledge the Indigenous people who cared for Turtle Island from before the arrival of settler peoples to this day. We also acknowledge that Clearview Township is situated on the land covered by Treaty 18 with the Anishinaabe. We are committed to moving forward in a spirit of truth, reconciliation, and respect in Clearview Township. At this time, looking for the approval of the agenda. And before we approve the agenda, I would like to reorganize the agenda slightly with the will of the group. I would like to move item number 8, AODA, new business AODA renovations is the only item under new business. I'd like to move that up in the minutes to just after, I'd like to consider that before business from the previous minutes, because we do have a guest tonight. Terry Vachon is here to speak to us a little bit and to hear some of the comments from the group as we head into AODA. Hopefully the final stretch of the AODA renovation process here, and I invited him to kind of hear what our thoughts were, and he can take that into consideration for the work he's doing and for the decision council needs to make. So if I could get if it's okay, if someone agrees with that and they would like to move it and second it, that would be great. Oh, I see hands there. I see Tina first and then Karen. Thanks. Is there any other changes to the agenda before we move on that? Ed, yes, please.
The soda pop machine and the ACC. Put that on the list.
Yep, we can put that. Let's consider that under, we'll consider that under new business, but we'll put it down where new business would properly be after Karen's financial report. Is that okay?
Yes.
Great. Any other addition? Oh, thank you, Laurie. Any other additions?
I'm just wondering, can we also talk about the parking lot? I think we need to maybe look at some additional gravel in somebody's budget for that.
Sure. Yep. We can talk about that in the same section. Anything else? Okay, seeing nothing else. So moving the agenda as amended with the reallocation of the AODA renovations and the addition of the two items mentioned, the gravel and the pop machine. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. We have a mover and a seconder for the amendment. Let's vote on the amendments first. All in favor of the amendments? Seeing agreement on that. Can I get a mover and seconder for the agenda as amended? Great, Melanie and Gary, and all in favor of the agenda as amended. We'll get it right yet. Great, there we go. Thank you, everyone. We'll carry on now. To disclosure of disqualifying interest and nature thereof. Does anyone at this point need to disclose a disqualifying interest for this meeting? Hearing none, move on to approval of the minutes from November the 25th were sent out by Kayla. Thank you very much once again for that, Kayla. Hope everyone's had a chance to read over the minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? If you do, please speak up. I have I'm perusing the minutes myself, so I don't have my Zoom window open to see hands raised. So please just speak up. I'll give everyone a moment to read. Hearing no further discussion, we will move to the vote. Can I please have a mover and a seconder for the agenda or the minutes? I'll get it right yet. We haven't had a meeting in 2 months. For the minutes as posted. Melanie and Karen, second. Great. And any further discussion on that? And any opposition to the minutes? Seeing none, we will consider the minutes carried. Thank you, folks. moving right on down the line to our discussion of AODA. So, pardon me, and sure Terry can speak to it a lot more fullness than I can here, but it is moving through the process, I guess. The AODA renovations are moving through the process, and I guess maybe why don't you just kind of explain to the board where we are at, and then we'll, if there are any questions as to where we are for Avening and that sort of thing, we can have a discussion after. So thanks.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for inviting me this evening. I think the last time we saw each other, I had a nice fancy PowerPoint presentation with respect to the big project that council is working on with all 6 halls. We've come a long way since then. We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. It's been a very educative process for myself, but I'm very confident that we're moving along quite nicely, considering the pandemic that we're in and the fact that we're all working out of our homes. Bill, I'm assuming that you've shared a lot of my emails that I've shared with the chairs, and so again, my emails have had a lot of information. I hope that you guys have all read through a lot of the information that's in there. But I guess I could update the Avening board. So as of this evening, or as of today, the engineers and the architects have finalized the conceptual drawings, the draft conceptual drawings. And our plan is to meet the boards or the chairs all 6 halls, hopefully next week, to review the final draft concepts of your design for the evening hall. So from there, I wanted to kind of give the halls one more chance to look over it, to make sure that we've captured all your thoughts, all your ideas, and bring that back to council in a report, which will include all 6 halls on March the 7th. So to meet the March 7th deadline, I have to have my report and all the pertinent information to the clerk's office by February the 28th. So in discussions with the engineers and architects, they feel very confident that they'll have their report finalized by then. And I'll be able to share that with council. The goal of the March 7th meeting is to present the engineers and architects report. The big meat and potatoes of that report will be the new cost estimates to renovate all 6 halls, and it'll be broken down per hall, of course, but it will have Avening Hall's new estimated costs as per the new conceptual designs that we have. Now for Avening Hall, yours was quite easy because we just used the 2016 design that was done. We had met, we being the engineers and myself had met Bill just to review those 2016 designs, make sure they were still pertinent, give them a chance to review that, and tweak if required to meet the codes of today. Obviously, the codes from 2016 to 2021 have changed considerably, but from what I understand, there was a minimal amount of changes that had to be done. So like I said, hopefully next week, we're going to show the final draft conceptual designs. And then, and like I said, hopefully we have a green light from Bill or from the board. And then we'll proceed to the council. Hopefully after council sees the report and they see the new cost estimates, they could put in place a budget for the overall project for all 6 halls. And then from there, we'll move forward in the construction phase process. So, which would include, tendering out each hall either independently or all together, whatever council chooses. And then hopefully we'll have a construction for the halls as soon as possible. I think I've kind of captured, I kind of gave you the Reader's Digest version. It's a little bit bigger than that, but just trying to capture kind of where we are today. We're probably about a month and a half behind the schedule that I was hoping to put in place. But of course, with the pandemic, we've had a few setbacks and we had to rely on a few other stakeholders, such as the architects, the folks that do the testing for the septic beds, because we know that for Avening Hall, we're renovating the septic bed was part of the project as well. So we had to rely on a few contractors or stakeholders to help us out in doing those evaluations as well. So it set us back a few weeks, but I think we're kind of still on track, and we're hoping to start some construction here, hopefully in 2022. Bill, I'm open for any questions or I'll capture any comments that your board may have, and I'll be happy to. I'll be looking down at my notes once in a while, so I am paying attention. But if the board has any questions or concerns, I'm open for any of that.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'll just let the board know that in my conversations with Terry about coming tonight, he was wondering what kind of questions the board had, and of course, I had mentioned that we were totally granted that he probably couldn't answer this, but without further direction from council. But the board kind of wanted to know what we should be doing as folks had been approaching us, renters had been approaching us about potential rentals for the summer, and where we would be at, and if that's construction season. So just looking to if there are any specific questions about anything for Terry, or if there's any comments that folks feel that would be beneficial as the work continues and as it goes through the process of going through committee, through council and through the so if there's any considerations. So I'll open it up to folks for comments now and questions to Terry.
I must have did a decent job, Bill. No questions.
I was going to say I had to look around the screen to make sure everyone wasn't muted, but it seems like we don't have a lot of questions at this point. I think we're all kind of waiting, for the process to unfold. So we really appreciate the update, and just if there's any last comments, Lori, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I'm just waiting, I guess, to see how much it's all gonna cost before we're gonna know what we're doing.
Yeah, if I can, Bill, maybe just add a little bit of insight. We the township have many projects, many capital projects on the go, and we are seeing that the prices that are coming in either through a tender or through a request for quotations or proposals, they're all over the map. Unfortunately, during a pandemic. The engineers and architects will do their best, in their consultation with contractors to find out what the going rate is to try to have a proper estimate. But when you go out for tender, you just never know what you're going to get. A comparable that I was using, with Bill, via email was most recently council did a tender for the landscaping project at the Steiner Arena, the new library. And there was a budget that was set in place. I think it was approximately $100,000 for that job. It was an estimate that was provided by the engineers, and the township received one tender, and it came in at $250,000. So it was quite a bit more than what was anticipated. That was last year, mind you. Maybe things have changed a little bit, but we're hoping that the estimates that the engineers and architects provide us will be as close to what we think the going rate will be, which will assist council in making a proper decision. If the project comes in twice as much as what the engineers had estimate, then it's going to be a concern or a problem that council is going to have to deal with. But we're hoping that that process is going to. We're hoping that the engineers will provide us good information. From what I understand, they've done a lot of work, a lot of homework, a lot of discussions with contractors to try to come up with a proper price. So to your point, Lori, excellent point. We're all kind of curious to know what the 2022 cost will be. But from what I understand, from the meetings I've had with council, we've had many discussions, a lot of meetings, and trying to educate council on what these halls mean to Clearview Township. The big picture, and I feel confident that council has all the information that they require to try to make the best decision they possibly can. That's been our goal, or our department's goal since the get-go, is to give council as much information to assist them. And so hopefully we've done a good enough job, and hopefully council continues to be quite confident in the work and in the research that we've done. Because at the end of the day, it's tax dollars that are going to be paying for this, right? And I'm assuming everybody on the screen here lives in Clearview Township, and you all pay taxes. So at the end of the day, we hope that we did a good enough job to, meet your expectations as well as council's.
Thanks. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Councillor Lamers, the plan is to borrow money to pay for the renovations. So it's not going to be necessarily reflected in the budget that is being debated and going through council at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not going into the budget this year. I'm not quite sure how Kelly's going to set that up, but once council decides what to do, and Kelly will rearrange something and have it all laid out for us.
Yeah, all I meant was that it won't be like a, one time, whatever the cost is for all the halls. It wouldn't be like a one-time thing. It would be it would be a payback over a period of time, right?
Yeah, that'll be discussed with the halls at how they want to do it over 5 years or 25 years.
Right. Sure. Please, Terry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bill, if I could add a little bit with respect to the financing plan. So right now, Clearview Township has approximately $1.6 million in the bank in the reserve for this project. If we use a number that was provided to us in the previous report by RG Burnside, if we use a number of $6 million, and I'm just throwing this number out there just to have a number, if it's $6 million for all 6 halls to be renovated, and there's let's just say 1.5, just for numbers sake, then 4.5 million would be potentially financed. My understanding is right now, as per the operational budget, there's approximately $250,000 a year that goes into the reserve. So that number is already part of the existing budget. But if you finance the $4.5 million over, say, a 20-year period, there's going to be a monthly payment. And then there's going to be a difference of that monthly payment from the $250,000 reserve that will be added to the taxes, if you follow me. So let's say the monthly payment is $400,000. And right now there's $250,000 that goes into the reserve that would be put towards the payment. There will be a difference of $150,000 that would have to be covered by taxation on a yearly basis, if you kind of follow me. So it's kind of hard to do it verbally. If I had a bit of a PowerPoint or a bit of a blackboard or a whiteboard, I can kind of show you what I mean. But so there is going to be a little portion that would have to be added, just because we know that it'll probably be at least $6 million. Those were the numbers that was used for modified fads. For full fads, but we're doing modified fads, but we've added a few extras for every hall, such as septic beds and that kind of stuff. So we know it's going to be around that number. So there will be a little bit of an amount. And then, of course, there's the, like Councilor Lamers just said, there's going to be perhaps a fundraising component that all the halls are going to be committing to, and that will come off that payment as well. So again, it won't be like a $4.5 million hit to the budget. Bill, I think is what you're trying to refer to, but there will be a little bit of an amount for the yearly payment. I hope I did a good enough job trying to explain that. Finance isn't really the details of finance really isn't my thing, but that's the way I understand.
Great. Is that good, Laurie? Thanks. Any other questions at this time?
Mine was answered.
Okay. I think we all certainly are waiting, as I said, and we look forward to getting the oh, sorry, Ed, go ahead.
The halls are going to be responsible for a portion that will be in our report that comes from the township.
Yep, I can, through you, Bill, I can answer that.
Please, yep.
Yep. So Ed, council hasn't decided yet One, if there's going to be a requirement for the halls to have to fundraise or not. That's still for them to decide that. And if you recall in our presentation that we made, a number of 25%, I think, was put out there of the total cost that the halls could be responsible for. And again, that number was just a number that was put out there for the sake of, for the presentation. Council still hasn't determined yet what that percentage will be. So they still have a few decisions to make with respect to that, but nothing's been decided yet.
Yeah, and that would definitely be a council decision for sure. And I think in all the discussions that we've had, and that you know, Councillor Lamers has indicated, like nothing is decided yet. Nothing is set in stone. It's not like we're locked into, you know, to some number. You know, until we know the tender numbers, really, like it's all kind of, it's all just a bit of an exercise, right? It's not, we don't have anything to say, okay, this is what we need to have as a fundraising goal, or that sort of thing, or what we can do. We have struck a committee to fundraise, and the committee's met a few times. They met last time just before after, just in early December, I guess, and the committee as well has some ideas and some plans, but again, it's all dependent on, you know, where things fall, and of course, pandemic, because a lot of it involves events too. So, pandemic notwithstanding, but we have a group of that's committed to it, but it's a matter of how much do we need to focus on here. So it's, yes, we'll wait and see, I guess, where everything kind of comes in.
Bill, if I can add, and maybe to even help answer Ed's question a little bit better as well, is that I've been promoting with council that the township make new memorandum of understandings with the halls and with each individual hall. If I don't know if you know or not, but there is an MOU that was signed by all 7 halls, I think about 25 years ago. It's like a one-pager, and all the chairs of all the halls kind of signed this MOU, and it's an old, outdated MOU. And so I think it's a proper time to, as these halls are being renovated, to come back to the halls with a new internal style MOU. And that will have all the information, I think, that Ed, you're referring to. It'll all be spelled out in that new agreement. So instead of having one MOU for all 6 halls combined, I'm hoping to have individual MOUs for all the halls instead. And again, the details of that MOU will come back to the board, and you'll see that. And hopefully the fundraising component will be part of that MOU. So you're not going to be blindsided. You know, it'll hopefully come back to you in the form of an agreement, a black and white agreement that you'll see. So it'll help answer some of those questions and perhaps some concerns.
Okay, great. That would be fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it, and yeah, look forward to the updates. And if there's anything else we can help you with, we'll be happy to do so.
Sure. Thanks, Bill. Just one more thing. I noticed on your agenda under 5.2, you have COVID-19 update. I know Amanda has been, I think you guys have, Amanda's been sharing a lot of information with all the boards. Is there any questions you have for me with respect to that? Or is it, are you guys, is it more something internal, or did you want me to help you with that one, or are we good?
It's kind of a standing item, I think, at this point on the agenda, and certainly the sands are continually shifting. There was another announcement today from the Premier with regards to where things stand. I mean, we haven't had a meeting since the current restrictions have been in place. I don't think we've had any rentals anyhow, but obviously the hall's been closed in a decision that supersedes the will of the board, if that makes sense. And so So yeah, I think it was more just a discussion. I think everyone kind of knows where we are. I've been passing on information as it comes through as well to the board. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
There's going to be another email coming, Bill, probably Monday or Tuesday from Amanda from our department
Sure.
to further help you folks make your decisions moving forward. Looks like there's a plan to reopen with restrictions, of course, but so we're here to help. Our department's here to help. I'm hoping that we've done a pretty good job helping you guys out since the beginning, but we're here to help. And if you need our assistance, just reach out and let us know.
Yeah, I think if it's okay with the board, sorry, we're going off the agenda here, but
yeah, sorry about that, Bill.
No, that's okay. It's you're only here for a certain amount of time, but I think that with given that the I think we can all read the news, like everybody can read the news the same, that the announcements, like right now, the way it looks like, we're going to be in a restricted state for rentals for a little bit, for another month or so. From what I can read, and I look forward to hearing from once Amanda has a time to sift through it a little bit more with more detail. But it looks like we can anticipate in March, approximately, all things considered and all things being equal, that public spaces will open back up without restrictions, provided that vaccination status, if you have a vaccination status in place. So we could run a concert as long as we stipulate that everyone comes fully vaccinated, for example, or those sorts of things. Now, I don't know how that kind of filters down, and there's certainly going to be a lot of situations in the township where children's birthday parties, bowling birthday parties, and a million other different scenarios could play out. But I'm sure that that will all be under consideration in Amanda's email and her interpreting of the information as it comes to her as well. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, like I said, we're here to help, Bill. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments on that? I guess before since we're talking about it, we'll jump around a little bit, but.
Yeah, Monday, I think it was Monday night's meeting, we discussed having Zoom meetings for the next 4 months again. Extended Zoom meetings for the next 4 months.
Okay. Was that a motion that was passed, or that was just a discussion?
I think that was a motion that was passed.
It was a motion. Okay.
Yeah.
So until May at this point, then, because we're halfway through January. Okay. All right. Okay.
We'll be looking at these square boxes for another couple months.
Well, for those of us who like order, it's very, keeps us in check that way. Okay, I'll stop. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on in the agenda to our concerts update, which seems kind of funny when we, thanks, Terry. Seems kind of funny when we think about where we are right now, but we did have some concerts back in November, and it felt kind of normal. Everyone was wearing masks, but it felt kind of normal, and we did pretty well on the bar. I don't remember off the top of my head. I apologize. How well we did. Yeah,
amounts
sure.
During my financial. Do you want now or during the financial report?
Yeah, maybe Sarah. Do you want to just give a recap of the concerts and
feels like a lifetime ago.
If I know.
We had some concerts. It was different, but we got through them. Pandemic concerts are not my favorite thing to do, that's for sure. But generally well received. Some ideas on how the process worked well with the vaccine passports, and that all went fairly smoothly. Probably more we could do in terms of sanitation, monitoring mask wearing, that sort of thing. But hopefully the next time we're running events, we won't have to worry as much. Yeah. So
Definitely the cold weather presented a challenge. We were encouraging people. We did have food at the concerts, and we were the first weekend, we didn't have snow that weekend, and so it was easier for people to eat outside and that sort of thing. But definitely, I guess we don't have to worry about it right now. But if we were going to continue on in the cold weather, it would be a challenge for sure. Yeah, but they were well attended. We had over probably close to 500 people through the 3 shows, Sarah?
yeah.
Yeah. So so pretty well attended for even the hesitant nature of the of the public.
And
Well,
we were
more so
lucky.
right now.
Yeah, we were so lucky just in terms of where they fell. It feels like there were only a few weeks where you could have full capacity, and we happened to be lucky enough that we hit them, and it was just a fluke. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Not that we had not that we planned with full capacity. We still sold fewer than our capacity, but we would have been able to should we have wanted.
And it was definitely a very everyone was really appreciative of being able to come out and kind of do something normal again, and even though we had masks, and everyone was kind of in this sort of, oh hey, how you doing, kind of awkward distancing thing, and so it had that element of it, but people were very happy to be able to come out, I would say. Yeah. I guess that's pretty straightforward. So we've talked about where we are with the pandemic so far. Got some news today, and I guess we'll wait and see exactly to get the information from Amanda as to what's going to happen with the halls. The next item on the agenda is recognition of Claire. Claire's not here. Did somebody, how do we want to go with this part of the discussion, folks? I guess, does somebody want to lead this, or I'm sorry, I saw this on the agenda and I thought somebody else had contacted Kayla, and I wasn't sure.
No, you guys talked about this at the end of the November meeting, so it feels like eons ago, but you guys said that you wanted to do something for Claire.
Okay, thank you for jogging my memory. Yes, we had said we want to do something for Claire. Is there any suggestions? Go ahead, please, Karen.
I remember we had a brief conversation. I thought something like just a dinner with Claire and the board would be nice. I don't really see Claire wanting to be someone standing up in front of a large group of people, clapping for her. It doesn't seem like her style, but if we get to a place where we can actually gather together and have a dinner or something, I'd propose that.
I think that sounds lovely.
I bet she's watching us at home right now. I'm just gonna say.
I'm her and thousands of others. Yes.
Exactly.
Be careful. Don't pick your nose on screen. Anybody else have any other suggestions? I think that's a great suggestion. Anybody else have any other suggestions or any thoughts? We can continue to have conversations about this too. I don't think we need to move an official motion or resolution at the board level here. We can oh, sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
When we do the reno, is there a place where maybe we could have a recognition wall where people like Claire and Carol and others that have given so much of their time, that we create some kind of a space for recognition? Because Claire has been awesome, but there have been others as well that maybe we'd like to look at.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, great suggestion.
Put your hand up again.
Go ahead, Ed.
Township does something for volunteers, is that right? For someone
Yes. Usually they do a recognition dinner once a term, if I'm not mistaken, where they recognize people with, you know, milestone volunteerism in the township. I think it's once a council term, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yep, you're doing that perfectly. You're absolutely right. And this is actually the year that it would be done. But COVID has kind of slowed our roll on that one. So,
and it would be in like the spring, right? June, May kind of timeline, I think.
Usually it would have been this past June, July time. Yeah, but because of COVID, we've had to kind of put things off a little bit. So we're still kind of brainstorming, but I think I can tell you that I believe she is on the list to be recognized this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Any thanks for the reminder of that, Ed. Anything else before we move on? Okay, well, it dovetails nicely into the booking agent position. How do we want to go about replacing or filling this position? Do we have any volunteers? Tina's putting her hand up. I see Tina putting her hand up.
I had a question.
That's what you get.
Yeah, there we go.
You should know better.
I know.
Go ahead, please.
Is it a one-person job, or is this something we should think about maybe people doing?
Excellent discussion point. Yes.
Claire was over and aboard what we expect.
Yeah. What do we, maybe we should start with what is this job? Like, do we, like, let's define, and I'm more than happy to send out an email to send an email to Claire, and I probably should have done this already, but just saying, like, do you mind listing typically what you would do for a rental? And then we can come up with a job description. Maybe we should come up with a job description, a few of us, from now until the next meeting, and then figure out how we go from there, whether we split it up, whether, go ahead, please, Karen.
Wasn't there an opportunity through the township to have like a centralized booking agent? Kayla, do you recall that?
There was.
Oh, yep, there was. And Terry would have been awesome to answer this one. They did have a potential booking system in place. However, they came across a couple glitches that allowed the booking software to be accessed. So, like, had we given, say, Karen access to this booking software, she could have gone in and handled anything from the ice hockey to baseball. It was just too much, and it's a bit of a security breach, I guess. And they're re-looking at that.
So for the time being, we shouldn't plan on that coming out of a potential job description then?
I would say no.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Monica.
Yeah, I think one of my questions for considering the position would be like contact information. So I don't know if Claire was using her own personal number or if there's like for contact. I'm not sure if I would be comfortable sharing my own personal information, like contact information for that kind of thing, but that would be something that I would be in consideration, kind of thing. Yeah.
Like, just, I don't want this to sound wrong, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, but just because Claire did something doesn't mean it has to be done the same way. And, I think that, we need to, if we've got a volunteer who's interested, we need to kind of, in some ways, meet them where they're at and what their commitment level is like, and what their comfort level is like. So there's maybe some things that could be looked at. Sorry, Laurie, did you want to add something?
Not necessarily around that. I think it was just maybe back to Karen's question about the software, the booking software, or just the booking agent in general. I know at one point it was thrown around that perhaps the township, could have a position that would handle all the bookings. But the last time I asked, they said no, that had kind of gone by the wayside. And I think you would need someone like that to cover all of the stuff that Claire did, that I'm sure we don't even know all the stuff that she did.
Yeah. Did you want to add something, Kayla or Councillor?
Yeah,
Davis?
I was just going to say to Lori's comment there that, they had Jessica was kind of facilitating everything for a little bit there to see if they could work something out, but the software just wasn't working for them. So they're kind of going back to square one on that. However, to go back to what Monica was kind of talking about, there are hall boards that do deal directly and only in Facebook calendar to set up their rentals, and then others that just work off of a hall board email address. So just some options to throw out there as well.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Kayla.
And is there a, this is maybe a question for you, Kayla, is there a thought that, like, are we okay to do our own thing, or is there a move to sort of standardize things more?
No, it's
whatever we want to do.
Whatever you guys are comfortable with.
Okay.
You're the
Yeah.
volunteers, you facilitate and run that operation, so you know it better than we do.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, does anybody want to kind of take on this task of writing up some thoughts on the job description? Maybe want to talk to Claire and come up with a list of things, and doesn't have to be necessarily all the things that Claire did, but it could be things we want to include. Does anybody want to kind of, it could be a jot list, even like a point form list. Go ahead.
I can do that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lori. Great, if we could have that, maybe we'll bring that back to the next meeting, and then we can discuss how we want to go forward then. I don't think there's going to be any rush on rentals in the next month anyways, so we're probably okay. Anybody else want to add anything before we move on? Okay, great. Rental update. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I know there were some rentals over the holiday before the current restrictions came into place. I know there was a bowling party. We had some we had a little bit of fun trying to get the bowling lanes going and figuring them out again in the middle of December there. But I think everything went well. And for the bowling party that we did have, and of course we had the concerts too. So the hall did get used a little bit in December. I don't have all the exact dates in front of me, but it did get used a little bit, and that's what I've got for now. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Karen.
I'm just curious if you're aware of what kind of follow-up happened with, I think there was maybe one or two potential wedding bookings. Do we know if they were told that it wouldn't be available because of construction, or where that landed?
Yeah, I think they were told that we were hoping to be in renovations, and they were going to look elsewhere. All right. Next thing is the financial report. Turn it over to Karen.
Okay. The most recent bank statement I have is from the end of November. I'm not sure what has happened with the system. My guess is we're not getting paper copies of bank statements anymore, which is a very good green initiative, but not super helpful for us when we don't have access to our accounts online. However, I think in 2022, that's something I'm going to try to make work better. I'm going to talk to Emmy and see what we can do about that. Anyway, so as of the end of November, our bank balance was $80,610.83. Since our last meeting, we did have those three concerts technically, and the bar revenue from the Elliott Brood concert, we net out at $2,830.93. The two Hannah George's concerts net at $1,052.78. Bill, we still need to pay out one invoice from that, and it's the Duntroon Cider invoice. There was an adjustment to be made. Do you mind nudging them again for an updated invoice?
Thank you. Actually, yes, I had thought about that, and thanks for the reminder. I will. Yes, I will.
Great. I'm expecting to hear from the finance department any day now about the year-end financials and getting those all sorted and submitted. So that'll be in the works. Otherwise, bills paid and deposits made were related to the concert expenses and a Hydro One bill, and deposits, like we said, the concert revenue and the bar revenue, and there was some merch sales. And then also that one bowling party and chair rentals. There was a donation made for rental of chairs from Steer Enterprises. Other than that, it's been fairly quiet on the finance front here. That's about it.
Thanks. Any questions for Karen? Great. And I also have a check for you, Karen, from the Creemore Farmers Market for the use of the sign, the rental of the road sign over the past number of months too. So that's
Okay.
Here. I'll get that to you.
Connect. Thanks.
Okay. Better not mute myself. So that's the financial report. New business, the pop machine.
I was approached to see if we're interested in selling the pop machine. It's
How
been
much?
in the back corner for 10,
Long
15,
time.
20 years.
Yeah. How much do they? What's a pop machine worth these days?
That's as far as I've gone. I would suggest it, see if we're interested or not, and then we would continue with further discussions.
I mean, we're
It's
probably just gonna end up having to move it out of that room and store it anyways if we go through renovations. So
We should ask our resident museum professional if there's a heritage value to it. Do we know its provenance?
Everything's invaluable, Karen.
It's probably an
Google and
artifact.
see what it is.
Yeah, I would suggest your standard. I mean, museums use eBay as well for
Yeah.
research on that when it comes to not high quality items. Yeah.
yeah, I guess yeah. See what they're willing to pay, Ed.
All right, it's a local business.
Sure.
So, all right, I'll say we're interested. We're not. We didn't definitely say no, but we will entertain.
Yeah.
When's the last time you used it?
Oh, I'm gonna say 30 years ago. Would that be right?
Long time.
Yeah, it's quite a while ago. 30. Well, maybe not 30. 20 anyways.
I don't know if I've ever seen it used.
Qualifies
that's
as an antique.
That's 20 years
Yeah, so okay.
at least.
If somebody needs it and is going to put it to good use, gives you a fair price on it.
Yeah. Tell them it'll go to a good cause.
I have my doubts the ACC is going to put it somewhere to have everyone look at it.
You're probably very right in that, Ed.
Yeah, it's not going to be put on the wall and say, look at this piece. There's not going to be a museum portion of the ACC. It's okay.
It's certainly not in a place of prominence right now. Put it that way.
No, no.
I'm surprised anybody knows that exists, to be quite honest with you. But that's
That was
fine.
my question. How did they know?
Yeah,
it
how'd
was
you
there?
know about it? Yeah,
Yeah.
This is a security question.
that's
Yeah.
right. Were they? Yeah. Anyways, well, it
Okay.
must have been someone inspecting the furnace or something. Anyhow, okay. Great. Lori, the parking lot you wanted to discuss.
I'm just wondering how is that a township cost to see if in the spring that some gravel can be brought in? I know the potholes were getting pretty big in the fall and with people now going in and out more often with their mail, I think they're probably getting a lot bigger. So is that something that that we can ask them to see if they can add to their costs for the year?
I don't know if Councillor Lamers wants to address that. He looks like he's getting ready to say something. Maybe he's plugging in his headset. Given the play-by-play here, give you a second to get your headset on there, Councillor Lamers. Did you want to address that, John? Do you think that could be something that's on the township's radar to?
Yeah, I'll send Dan an email and see what he suggests. They should be able to grade it out, and once they look at it in the spring, let us know if there's going to be gravel needed or not.
Great. Perfect.
I know.
Thank you.
Because part of that is paved, is it not?
Correct. Yes. Probably about half to 2/3 ish, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are some pretty large at the south end of the parking lot. There are some pretty large potholes for sure.
Yeah.
Where water
Yes.
always does collect. Yeah.
So I'll send them an email to have a look at it in the springtime once the snow's all gone to see what they can do and let us know.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent. All right. Thank you for that. Any further discussion on that? That's good. Next meeting, Thursday, February the 17th at 7:30 p.m. Mark that in your calendars. And looking for a motion to adjourn.
But I have a question.
Melanie, oh, Tina, you had a question? Yep, sorry,
Yes,
before we
sorry.
adjourn.
I actually need to make a statement. I was in the hall.
Please.
Tonight. I was in the hall tonight and I was in the furnace room. I emptied that pail under the water where it drips there, the red pail by the furnace.
Okay.
It was full of water. I emptied that in case you were going in and checking it on a regular basis.
Okay.
The one by the two taps?
Yeah, well, the one with the two, where the two taps are just inside the door to the furnace.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. It is, I guess, dripping a little still.
All right. At the hot water?
I didn't notice which one. I just noticed the pail was right full, so I emptied it.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe keep an eye on it, especially with the cold weather. I'll pop in there
Okay.
a couple times. Great. Karen.
Sorry, it just occurred to me, will the township be posting for our board vacancy to have that position filled?
If you guys would like to have that filled, we can pass a motion and then we can advertise for that, absolutely.
Do we want to go that route or do we want to, I don't know, do we want to get a little bit further down the road on our discussion about the booking agent first?
Right.
We're not necessarily going to post for specifically for a booking agent, right? We want another board member, and then from our board composition, we decide who wants to fill that role.
Yeah. What do people think? I mean, I think we should I think it's a good time to review, you know, what are the expectations of that role, and before we start asking people to fill it, and then I'm comfortable filling it from the board, but perhaps we could look to filling the position. I believe that all committees of council need to be reviewed when the municipal election happens, or after the municipal election happens, which is this fall. So we're not that far off of kind of all of us sort of reapplying for our positions here, technically. But anyways.
So maybe it's
Kayla,
not a rush then. I mean, as long as we still have enough people that, you know, fits within whatever our bylaws say we need to have, then maybe we don't rush it.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Kayla? Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I was just gonna
please.
say there are options as well. There are some boards that actually have a community member, maybe somebody that says, hey, I can commit my time to doing that role, but not necessarily be on the board. That's one option. But I think filling it internally, you guys know the hall the best. And I feel like I cut out a whole bunch. Did everything just cut out?
We lost pretty near all of it.
I'm looking at a bunch of blank faces. Can you hear me?
It was pretty entertaining.
Okay, I was just saying. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Thanks, guys.
I think the gist of what you were saying, hopefully, was that there's different options, and nothing is kind of, there's no necessarily set rules, and when we can reappoint from the board if we'd like, and especially since we know what the position is. All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead, please.
If we wanted to put a gentle call out to like garner some more board members, we could do it on our social media page if we wanted to, you know, just kind of put a gentle call out. Yeah.
No. If we
Sarah,
we
go
have
ahead.
some really great volunteers that we have been kind of fostering through the concert series. Most of them are very busy people, and I don't know that they'd want a position on the board necessarily. But I think if we are looking to fill some spots, they'd be my first guess. They've already showed a level of commitment, and we're already familiar with them, and they're already familiar to the board. So if we did want to fill one of those vacancies, that would be where I would personally start.
Yeah,
Great
and
point.
it's a really good point, Sarah, too. Yeah, and just so folks know, there's some new families in Avening, and who have come out and helped us in volunteering at a couple of events. So it would be kind of great to bring them into the community a little bit more, and it's not quite the same as the old days of recruiting our board members, but when we had to grow them ourselves. But you know, that's all right.
And council just needs to, like, I'm not sure they're actually appointed by council, right? But as long as we recommend that they join through our minutes and our minutes get passed, that essentially is the process, right?
Defer to Kayla on that one.
If you can hear me. Yep.
Yes.
And then they are appointed by council to become board members. If it's just a really good community volunteer, that's fine. You guys could do that on your own.
Okay. All right. So there's, yeah, we've got some options there, I think. But our first step though is to let's suss out the some of those job descriptions, some of the things that need to happen, and then we'll figure out what we're looking for, and if we want this to be one role, two roles, however, you know, if there's a couple members of the board who want to take on part of it and that sort of thing. So, okay. All right. So our next meeting will be February the 17th, Thursday, February the 17th. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Melanie, seconded by Tina. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Stay